Yeah, it's very strange that they're so opposed to it because gamers can only benefit from owning NFTs, right? If they're collecting things and they actually have full ownership of it, then that can exist outside the platform that they bought it on. Whereas like everything they've ever collected in any game, it's bound to that game. It's bound to that company's servers. The company owns it effectively. Like you've paid them money and they say you own it in their system, but like there's no way of trading that's not an asset that you actually own the way you would own something else. It's locked in their system. Whereas if it was an NFT, then you have the ability to create a market for it and you can actually extract some of that value yourself. So the players can only benefit from it. So it's very strange to see them fighting against it.
So
Yeah.
what you're saying is we need to sneak you in with, say, CS:GO, right? With a Retro Doge avatar, wreck everybody's day on a run, and then they're going to be like, "Who is this legendary person?" And then we get them back into the Retro Doge's world and maybe convince them that it's a digital asset, not an NFT. Is that how we're framing it?
Yeah, there's still like even among the people who like trade CS:GO skins because that's like the most open market of any video game. Even among them, they hate NFTs and they can't really explain why, but people just have a reaction to it. It's strange.
Yeah, there's a lot of irrational hatred of things out there. I mean, this happened with crypto at the beginning, and then it shifted over to AI. And different crowds hate different things. I think it's very concerning and disconcerting, I guess. But also at the same time, I think it shows that things are fluid. So hopefully, people will see the benefit of all this eventually. I mean, well, outside of gaming as well, I mean, there's all this other application for stuff. Now, I mentioned AI. I don't like to go into AI too much because it's such a vast topic. But do you guys see any applications here with this project in AI? Do you see AI becoming relevant to anything that we're doing with projects like these?
So the virtual assistant videos, they're really incredible. I think I'm maybe not the best person to talk about them, but from what I've seen, they're amazing and they're fun, and I think that's something that could really catch on.
And on my end, I would say absolutely I could see avatars and projects that are leading the way in the NFT space becoming more and more relevant in the AI realm. Because, like Path has really touched on a lot during this podcast, you don't truly own something digitally unless it's on the blockchain. So the fact that that's the reality, regardless of the fact that people aren't fully aware of this yet, I think is huge. And I think as we see some of these like new platforms continue to grow, there's Friend Tech, there are a lot of L2s that are coming out, there's Base, there's a lot of progress being made. And like I said, automated vehicles, I think it's going to keep growing. I think that, and also once they like rig these things properly so that AR and VR is more seamless, I think we're really going to start to see the use cases grow.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question, especially considering where we are in the timeline with all of this. And we've had a pretty rough year with the markets. I mean, I share optimism with you guys, and I really think we're on the right track. But how do you feel about where things are now? Like you clearly see this in a very clear and crisp way, like where it makes a lot of sense. And I agree. Like, how else can you explain provenance to somebody outside of something that involves the blockchain? And it's very difficult to see because people are going to lose a piece of paper, or a house is going to go up in flames. But this is a decentralized network is forever. Technically, I mean nothing's forever, but much longer than something that's a tinder stack waiting to go up in flames. So explaining that to others may be complicated, but considering how the market has been and how difficult it has been for NFTs to get sold or projects to kind of grow or get visibility, how do you feel about things? Do you think that we're on track for kind of like a revival or maybe a more mature approach this time around? I'd just like to get your feelings on that.
I would hope so. I think that's always been a hope with crypto. Though, like back in the day when I first started, there were all these shit coins and so on, and people were like, "Oh, well, when we go mainstream, we won't have to worry about this anymore." But that's the opposite of what happened. It only got worse, exponentially so. So, yeah, I don't. I think maybe some people will take it more seriously, and what matters really is getting this technology to a point where it can be used without someone knowing that they're using it. When it reaches that stage, then people, it doesn't really matter what people think about it anymore, because they can't push back against it. They're using it. And yeah, if they're not educated on it, then it doesn't really matter. They don't really have an impact.
Yeah, so my perspective, I think that the people we see now that are building, that are continuing to show up every day within their communities and hype up the crowd, hang out and talk about the things that they love, I think these people are the people that are going to continue to help this entire tech to become what it's meant to be. I think that we are going to see another renaissance like I feel we had in like maybe, what was it, at 2021, 2020. I think we're going to see it again. But I think ultimately the people that are here now, you have to love art, you have to love the tech, you have to believe in the technology, you have to love development and building. And I think those are the people that ultimately, survival of the fittest, they're the people that are going to continue to make this what it should be and what it should have always been. So mainstream adoption is going to take a lot of time. I've seen some projects doing a great job, like maybe Pudgy Penguins, at kind of helping to bridge the gap and, moving out to Web 2 and taking those people's hands and saying, listen, we have plushies, we have things that are easy to understand. You don't even need a wallet to do some of the things that we're doing, a crypto wallet. But ultimately, I think we just need to stick it out. I think we're going to see a bull market come back. I do think there's a lot of money to be made, but I don't think that's the heart of the entire situation. I think the heart of this is the technology and the community that comes from everything that we're doing now.
I love that. I love how you explain that too. I mean, that's really, I think, the core of what's going on with Retro Doges in so many ways. It's trying to reach out to more people to bring them in through different avenues, but also it's focused on the community. This whole thing of like, I love how you said it, because there's art, there's development, and then there's, a certain level of engagement, which makes community what it is, right? And at some point, you have to ask yourself, like, why am I buying an NFT? What does this do for me? Because it's not just a piece of art always. It's an investment for a lot of people, and that's just real. I am not an investor. I just like making art and talking to people and building cool projects, right? But when somebody comes along and says, what do I get out of this? Initially, I used to get offended by this question. And now I say, oh, okay, so this person wants to invest in something, wants to see if it has longevity. Like, what are we doing? What are we offering these folks? Why are we asking them to invest in our projects, in our art projects, right? And so with Retro Doges, suddenly I think we found ourselves in a really interesting place where it comes from a group of folks who were primarily traders and supporters of the arts. And now they've created a PFP project. It's a community project. So when we look at like identity and what we're doing with that as a group, there is this. I'm kind of throwing it back to the beginning of this. There is this. I think the project observes the retro in a way that's quite literal, but also more than that, because it's a vibe. Like the videos we have of Marty going back to the future as a retro doge, and Path at the video game console. Like, it's calling in and calling out all of the different things that interoperability works with, but also, like, from a community perspective, it's like we're just having a lot of fun. Like, all of these things sound very serious when you look at it from a money perspective, but at the end of the day, people buy things and then they enjoy them, which is the idea, right? Smoke, are you into retro stuff too, like that?
Yeah, I love retro stuff. Like, even when I was in my teens, like I was just like huge into punk rock and 80s hardcore and all the classic rock. So music wise, I know we're not really strictly talking about music at all, but definitely the music influenced me in a big way. I play a little guitar and I've always wanted to get back into it. And I just love the whole vibe. And I love what you said about vibes in general. I think that bear market, bull market, the communities that have the biggest and most chill vibes are the ones that survive, regardless of price or anything else. And I've seen this across Solana blockchain, Ethereum. I've seen this on Tezos. I've seen this every blockchain at Polygon. There's always that thread that has gone through every project that I've collected, and it's love of art, impeccable vibes, regardless of price, passion to build, passion for community. So I think if you have those things and you take those things seriously day in, day out, and like you said, don't take things that seriously in the same breath. Have fun, hang out with your friends. It's a bad day, it's a bad day. It's a bad month, it's a bad month. But you have your NFT, you have your friends, you have your community, you hang out, you chill. It just like relationships. Like you've got to be there for the good times and the bad times if you're really a real person.
Really hard too. It's funny. A lot of folks seem to cope, at least the healthy communities, by turning our state of affairs of the market into a joke. It's like it's all over, or like this has got to be the bottom, or et cetera, et cetera. But we decided to cope by creating a PFP project, which is fascinating. I mean, it is a lot of fun. I wanted to ask too, Path. So this is kind of crazy to think about, right? Like, so Smoke, you and I are retro doges right now, but Path actually looks kind of like Path. I know your head isn't that big in real life, I was talking about this before we hit record, but I swear my feet aren't this tiny in the real world. But I wanted to ask you if you wanted to talk a little bit about the honoraries or any of the other stuff going on with the project.
So I actually don't know how many honoraries we've made exactly. I wasn't that involved with the creation of the whole thing. It was mostly the community who made it. They're amazing, the team behind it. But yeah, we have honoraries for various different people on Twitter. So hopefully that will help get the word out. But it seems to be being received quite well on Twitter. I'm very happy for that because they deserve it. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, the last video was, I mean, it packed the punch.
The trailers are incredible. I'm really impressed. I am.
Yeah, it gave me the dopamine hit I didn't know I needed. All right, I think this might be a good time to actually go check out what we can do with these avatars. So let's go do that. All over. Do visit RetroDoges at x.com or twitter.com/RetroDogesNFT. Check out the pinned tweet. We have an awesome, amazing, I can't explain how cool this thing is, trailer. It is so ridiculously over the top, and I feel like it touches so many cool little pop culture elements, whatever. Just go check it out. Go check out the pinned tweet, retweet it. And if you like what you see, and I kind of promise you will, join us on Discord. There's a Linktree link in the bio on the account, and join us there, engage with the discussion, and we'll see you there. All right, let's go play some games.